Hey everyone, welcome back to Fandom Frontline, where I dive deep into the art, the heart, and the horror behind cinema's greatest stories. Today's story is one we've been waiting years to see Guillermo del Toro finally tell: Frankenstein. A movie that feels less like a new adaptation and more like a resurrection, not just of Mary Shelley's novel, but of everything del Toro's been building toward his entire career. At its core, Frankenstein is the story we know: a brilliant man defying death, creating life, and facing the unbearable consequences of his own ambition. But Del Toro's version isn't just about mad science, it's about grief, about a man who cannot let go of the people he's lost, and a creation who realizes he was never meant to exist in the first place. The tone isn't just gothic horror, it's tragic romance, spiritual allegory, and psychological portrait all at once. So let's talk performances, because this cast is stacked and they're giving some of the best work of their careers. Oscar Isaac plays Victor Frankenstein as a man whose genius is matched only by his guilt. He's haunted, not in the theatrical sense, but in the way he carries silence like a weight. Jacob Elordi as the creature is extraordinary. This isn't a snarling brute or a stitched up monster. He's childlike, wounded, and almost unbearably empathetic. Elordi's physicality, the way he moves, the way his voice quivers when he tries to understand love or cruelty, makes this one of his best performances yet. And Mia Goth as Elizabeth gives the story its human anchor. Her presence reminds us what both men have lost, and what they never truly understood in the first place. This is pure Guillermo del Toro. Every frame is handcrafted and every shadow feels alive. You can trace his entire filmography here. The empathy of The Shape of Water, the melancholy of Pan's Labyrinth, the visual poetry of Crimson Peak. But where those films looked outward, at war, monsters, and myth, Frankenstein looks inward. The cinematography by Dan Lauston is stunning: muted candlelight, deep shadows, and painterly compositions that echo Shelley's words. The creature's birth scene, for instance, isn't grotesque, but depicted as something almost sacred. You feel the awe, the horror, and the implied holiness of creation. And Alexander Desplat's score is breathtaking, delicate strings swelling into choral despair, giving the film a texture of a requiem. This isn't just a horror movie, it's a dirge for the human condition. Del Toro has always been obsessed with monsters, but this time, where most versions of Frankenstein treat the creature as a symbol for one man's hubris, this film treats him as a symbol for pain. Pain of being unwanted, of being made by a world that immediately turns away from you. This is where the director's Catholic imagery comes through: the act of creation, the burden of guilt, and the possibility, or impossibility, of forgiveness. If Frankenstein has traditionally been a story about playing God, Del Toro redefines it as a story of what happens when God abandons you. This Frankenstein is Guillermo del Toro's masterpiece of melancholy, a film that marries the gothic and the humane in ways only he can. It's not a jump scare horror film, it's a horror of feeling, of empathy, regret, and loss. It belongs on the biggest screen possible, because every flicker of light and shadow feels alive. And yes, because Netflix intends to take it out of theaters and reduce it to streaming within just a couple of weeks if you wait too long. Del Toro has built a cathedral of cinema, and filled it with ghosts, love, and the sound of a monster learning to say, I am. So, what's your favorite Frankenstein adaptation? The 1931 James Whale classic? Branagh's faithful to the novel version? Or do you think Del Toro's finally perfected the myth? Let me know down in the comments. This has been Fandom Frontline, so stay passionate and stay curious.